guys. Begin this podcast by talking about everything that transpired on Sunday afternoon. There was a lot that transpired on Sunday. It taught us about the landscape of the National Football League. It taught us which teams are ready to compete for a Lombardi Trophy, told us which teams are not ready to make the playoffs. We're now through the first half of the season, and we should have a pretty good pulse on what this league is all about, what these teams are all about. And that's why we have 40 minutes to completely go into detail on each and every one of these games and each and every one of these results and kind of break down what transpired yesterday on the gridiron in the National Football League. And that's what we're going to do here for about 40 minutes of our show. So we start off yesterday by talking about the Buffalo Bills. And the Buffalo Bills yesterday, it was incredibly disappointing what ended up happening yesterday with the Buffalo Bills, because Josh Allen, he hasn't been great all year long, and he's kind of going through a tough little transition here. He's going through a tough transition, in his NFL career. And it's one that is difficult. The Eagles come in yesterday, and this Philadelphia Eagles team comes to Buffalo yesterday, and they run the football right down the Bills' throat. And, I look at Sean McDermott, and he is not an offensive guy whatsoever. He's not an offensive coordinator by any means. And Josh Allen is not throwing the ball from the pocket. He is not getting coached up well by Brian Daboll, by Ken Dorsey. It's way too much scrambling. It's not enough hanging in the pocket, going through reads and playing the quarterback position. You should look to run when a play breaks down, but it shouldn't be your primary option. And that is why Josh Allen ran into trouble yesterday, because Josh Allen oftentimes is too willing to run instead of hang in the pocket and make a big-time throw. Yesterday, the defense was not stopping the run. Whether it's Jordan Phillips or Ed Oliver, those guys, Star Latualele, who even knows who's on the field? And the Bills this year, they haven't played a real dominant rushing attack, and the Philadelphia Eagles haven't even been that good of a running team. And I'm not pushing the panic button with the Buffalo Bills, but the reality is that they're not catching the New England Patriots this year, and that isn't really a huge detriment to the Buffalo Bills. The fact is that the Bills have the Redskins, they have the Cleveland Browns, they have another meeting with the Dolphins coming up very soon in Miami. It's time to see Josh Allen develop at the quarterback position, and by this time on Tuesday, I think it's worthwhile to try to go out there and to try to get a Melvin Gordon in here, so you have a stable forward of running backs. I think it's worthwhile to get another weapon, because this defense is pretty much at its peak right now. It's a very, very good defense, and Josh Allen could use another wide receiver so that we can unlock Josh Allen's potential from the pocket. So it's not so difficult, because you have Cole Beasley and John Brown, but you don't have a big receiver. And you gave away a Zay Jones. Who is more of a prototypical ex-big receiver. You need a 6'2" wide receiver that's going to be accounted for. Now, maybe Alshon Jeffrey, maybe you cough up a lot of money and try to get an Alshon Jeffrey from Philadelphia. You take that risk. I think the risk could be very warranted for the Buffalo Bills. I really do. I'm not going to be the one to tell you guys to panic about the Buffalo Bills. I'm just saying that the long-term future of this team, the pass rush with Jerry Hughes hasn't been the same. The hitting of Levi Wallace and Tre'Davious White and the guys in the secondary is still very good. But I don't blame yesterday's game on just Josh Allen and the offense. I mean, the fumble was big before the half, but the Eagles went out and punched Buffalo in the mouth, and maybe Buffalo 5-1 team. I still trust Sean McDermott. I like this coaching staff, and I really love the GM, Brandon Beane. So I like everything that Buffalo is doing. It's just how quickly can this Bills team race to maturity? How quickly can this Bills team expect to win a playoff game going on the road as an underdog? Is that going to happen? Is that going to happen with the Buffalo Bills? Can they go on the road into a hostile stadium, and can these guys win a playoff game on the road? I'm not sure. And in fact, I probably would say no because of the offensive line and because this passing game is going to get bottled up late in the season. So you are going to play either a Colts or a Ravens team on the road first week of the playoffs. Or you're going to have to play Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes in Arrowhead, a historically tough place to play. Making the playoffs is going to be great, though, for Josh Allen. It's going to be very good for the young core, but you're never going to have as easy as a schedule as you are this year. And the passing game needs to develop. Even if Josh Allen throws interceptions, it's time that Josh Allen, from the pocket, it's time to really see him let it loose. It's time for the running game to be more sustained because Brian Daboll is not calling consistent running game plays. And he's hanging Josh Allen out to dry because Josh Allen could be effective with a run-first offense where he's going play-action fake. You look at what Jimmy Garoppolo is doing. You look at what Kyle Allen is doing in Carolina. Successful offenses can run the ball. I mean, Jared Goff was able to get his team to a Super Bowl on the back of his offensive line, on the back of Todd Gurley. And Brian Daboll needs to get instruction from Sean McDermott. I like how aggressive Daboll has been. I believe Daboll can come up with creative runs. It's about him coming up with creative runs and then a play-action deep ball passing. There needs to be deep ball passing because relying on Josh Allen to be this accurate dink and dunk passer, that's not playing to his strengths. Allen in a playoff game can make plays with his legs. If you're hosting a game in the cold, Josh Allen is a quarterback that is still a winner. In the fourth quarter, Josh Allen is a winner. He is a franchise quarterback. He is a winner. He does have skill and talent. But he's not the type of guy that's good throwing the ball 40 times a game, 5 to 10 yards down the field. He's better at play action, sucking up the linebackers, and hitting a 15-yard pass. It should be a run-first offense with this second-year quarterback that in year one didn't even play the magnitude of the games. And in year two, Josh Allen does not have elite wide receivers. And anyway, Josh Allen, you could still win with this formula. He's mobile enough to hit big plays. He has a big arm. He's very, very mobile. He has good mechanics. He can make tight window throws when the pocket is there. But let's simplify things for Josh Allen. So against a good front, he's not running the ball. Let's have him win from the pocket, less running, and actually more handing the ball off to Devin Singletary. Rookie running backs can be elite in the NFL. There is nothing against a rookie running back being elite. There is no cap on really a rookie running back not taking on the bulk of your carries. So the Bills need to get that edge to them. 5-2, they play the Redskins. It's time for Buffalo to kick ass one of these weeks, win by 21 points. It's time to have the offense go off. Instead of saying to Josh Allen, don't mess it up for your defense, instead of just saying he's a game manager and to not screw it up, that's not psychologically healthy for an athlete when you're saying just don't turn it over, don't screw it up. Josh Allen needs to be a focal point. He needs to continue to be aggressive. Against the Patriots earlier in the season, I think he was even more comfortable and aggressive, and I think that some of those interceptions might have scarred up Josh Allen in a way that is not healthy for Josh Allen. But people that want to quit on Josh Allen, quit on Sean McDermott, quit on this plan because you're 5-2, that is ludicrous. How many years are the Bills 5-2? This is a great opportunity to go to the playoffs with an actual quarterback that can make things happen. If Josh Allen was playing against the Jaguars, I believe that the Bills would have won that playoff game because Josh Allen in the fourth quarter is ice, and they're not going to have to rely on some fluke Andy Dalton type play for the Bills to get into the postseason. So that's how I see it. That is how I see it with the Buffalo Bills. It was disappointing yesterday. Couldn't stop the Eagles. Couldn't really get after Carson Wentz. Couldn't put him on the ground. And the defense wasn't able to get any turnovers yesterday. And I know that the Eagles are a Super Bowl team, but it still was very, very disappointing that the Buffalo Bills were not able to go and get where they needed to get to yesterday against the Philadelphia Eagles. It was very disappointing. And sooner or later, Buffalo needs to find a way to move past this elementary stage of winning games ugly. They need to start pounding teams on their schedule. They need to start running Singletary. Frank Gore is an old player. He's a very good player. He's a good locker room guy. But Motor Singletary needs to take over this offense. You need to have Dawson Knox and these tight ends. It needs to be a run-first offense. You need to slam it down people's throats. Now, maybe you're waiting to do that. Maybe you're wisely holding Singletary back, saving him up for a playoff run, getting Josh Allen reps early in the season. But I doubt that you're employing that strategy of kind of not good offense and putting Josh Allen in really tough situations. He is not just a running quarterback. He is not a gadget quarterback, and he will not survive long term if he is treated like a gadget quarterback. There are quarterbacks who win by managing football. Alex Smith did it in San Francisco with Harbaugh. Eli Manning during 2007 is very similar to Josh Allen. He would be a guy that would have a clutch 2-minute drill. He'd rely on his defense to get sacks and get the ball back, and he'd make timely, awesome plays. Josh Allen is clutch. He is a competitor, and that is why I trust him in Buffalo to figure it out. I'm not pushing the panic button. I think this is a wild card team. I said that this would be a 12-4 team, and I'm dialing it towards 11-5. I'm still at 12-4. In terms of Buffalo competing with the Patriots, they can win. Other than the Patriots in this AFC, you have the Colts that can get beat on any week. And if the defense shows up in a playoff game against the Ravens, I believe Buffalo actually plays the Ravens. So we're going to see that matchup unfold. It's going to be very healthy for this Buffalo team. I believe Buffalo does go to Baltimore. So it is the Ravens, it's the Chiefs. There is a possibility that Buffalo is playing the Patriots still in an AFC championship. I'm not ruling it out. I still think that the Patriots are going to, go to the Super Bowl and lose the Super Bowl. That's probably conventional wisdom would tell you that. But yesterday was disappointing, and this offense needs to let Josh Allen roll. It needs to unlock Josh Allen's potential. That's what needs to be transpired for the Buffalo Bills to move forward. And the defense needs to be used as a weapon. Let's switch gears a little bit at 15 minutes and 25 seconds. Let us switch gears to the best team in football, the San Francisco 49ers. Yesterday was absolutely a brilliant display. It was a brilliant display of fortitude, of defensive prowess, of running the football. They went and took a very good 4-2 Carolina Panther team, and they turned the Panthers into a damn joke yesterday. It was absolutely over when the first quarter ended. 14-3 at the end of one before you can blink. Tevin Coleman in Atlanta, I thought Tevin was just a third down power back, kind of the thunder to Devontae Freeman's lightning. But yesterday, Tevin Coleman was completely and totally absurdly good. This offensive line, Dalvin Tomlinson, Weston Richburg, Garnett, McGlinchey, and a backup tackle. What they're doing in the zone running game, the receivers blocking, it is a thing of beauty. And Jimmy Garoppolo on 3rd and 5, he is ice. And Jimmy Garoppolo is the conductor to this offense. And he doesn't need to read into anything. He doesn't need to read into any of the criticisms that people are having about, Garoppolo needs to throw more. Garoppolo needs to be more aggressive. The 49ers need an elite wide receiver. The 49ers need nothing. They are good enough to be the world champions the way they are playing. They are the best team in this NFL. Nick Bosa is the most valuable player in the NFL right now. Bosa has 7 sacks this year. He had 3 sacks yesterday and an interception. And he hasn't even played in this league for very long. And he's already probably your defensive player of the year. And when you're the defensive player in the year, when you're an Aaron Donald player, you then have your opportunity to get your team to a Super Bowl. You have Richard Sherman, who had an interception yesterday. The safeties of the 49ers are ridiculously good. Jaquiski Tartt, what Robert Saleh is doing with this defense, he is the assistant of the year. The 49ers, the best defense in the league, believe that they got 4 turnovers yesterday. I know Josh Allen, or Kyle Allen, I think, threw 3 or 4 interceptions. Tavarius Moore coming in there from Mississippi State. They are long, they're lengthy defenders. These linebackers. Acquiring a Quan Alexander, a Fred Warner. And just the architect with John Lynch, how he has architected this team or how he has created it. It is the best team in football. It's 7-0 for a reason. It is going to be Garoppolo and Tom Brady, and this 49ers defense is going to win. It's going to be defense versus defense in Miami, but I believe it's time for the new guard to win. It is time for Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers to win a Super Bowl championship. Kyle Shanahan, it's time for him to win his first championship. He's that awesome of a coach. I saw the Packers last night in Green Bay. Their defense is not close to the 49ers. I watched the Saints play the Cardinals, and they're a good team. But the 49ers are going to go down to New Orleans, and they're going to get home field, and nobody is going to beat the 49ers once the 49ers are in Levi Stadium. It could be 15-1. It could be 16-0. It's going to be the Saints and the 49ers probably squaring off, especially if the Saints are in the Dome. This 49ers defense is the best defense. Bosa is the MVP right now. Maybe in all of football, this is as good of a defensive performance as I've seen in years of covering this league. It's like Khalil Mack. It's like a Von Miller. And in the Super Bowl, they're just like the Broncos team that beat the Panthers. They're that good. And Jimmy Garoppolo is just the quarterback that's steady, steers the team in the right direction. This running game will be able to run on the Patriots in the Super Bowl. That's what we're headed towards. A 49ers-Patriots Super Bowl. Denver, my Super Bowl prediction at the beginning of the year, their defense is not that good. Joe Flacco and Vic Fangio not that well coached. But the 49ers, there's nothing more they have to prove. 9-0 over Washington. You thought the 49ers were just kind of coasting a little bit, that they haven't really played great competition. Yesterday, they play a really solid, wild card-worthy defense. A team with Luke Kuechly, a team of Mario Addison and Gerald McCoy and James Bradbury, who's having a tremendous season this year. And they go and play a solid Carolina Panther defense, and they run roughshod over them with zone schemes and every sort of schemes. Kyle Shanahan, coach of the year, coaching incredibly well. This 49ers team, Kyle Allen didn't have a chance. Kyler Murray's not going to have a chance. Solomon Thomas is now used in a hybrid role. Same with Arik Armstead, DeForest Buckner, and Dee Ford. The 49ers, by getting Nick Bosa, the MVP of the league, it's never good to say that an injury helped out a franchise, but it sure as hell worked getting a guy like a Nick Bosa, who is just unstoppable attacking the passer. And that's what you need, a 4-3 defense. And Robert Saleh abandoned kind of that cover 3-3-4 scheme. And they're playing aggressive, and Saleh is really going towards his personnel. And John Lynch and this team, it's a beautiful thing to watch. It's, the 49ers are that team on that upwards climb. People, they were that team that was poised to make a leap before the season. And, people still doubted Garoppolo, doubted that offense. But this 49ers defense is better than I even could have anticipated. Getting a Richard Sherman, bringing him in, just was the perfect mental move. Fred Warner's been absolutely brilliant. Tavarius Moore, Witherspoon. It's really the development of these guys. It's finding players that fit the scheme properly and fit the scheme well. And that's what the 49ers are doing. It is a brilliant, brilliant thing to watch the 49ers operate on a game-to-game basis. And they're even playing a game this Thursday. So I want to congratulate all the Niner Empire. You guys are amazing people. You guys go out there and you've given this channel a little bit of pop. And for that, I am definitely grateful. So what a win. What a way to go about it. What a way to go about it. All right. Man, was that fun yesterday. Man, was that fun. Let's talk about some other results, the Chicago Bears, and let's talk about Matt Nagy and his decision. Let's talk about his decision to not move the ball up for Eddie Pinheiro. So, just downloading a picture of Soldier Field in Chicago, Illinois. Going to make this a nice background for you guys. Okay, I got it. So, the Chargers fired Mike McCoy today. That ended up happening. And so, the Chargers end up firing Mike McCoy, right? That ended up happening today. But for Matt Nagy, for these Chicago Bears, I'm telling y'all one thing, okay? I'm going to tell y'all something right now. I'm going to tell you guys something. I think that Matt Nagy is still a great football coach. And I still think he's going to do great things with this organization. I would not quit on Matthew Nagy. He is the coach of the year. Now, what he said yesterday, what he said about this team yesterday, was completely and totally irresponsible. To the media, he is getting a little cocky, a little bit arrogant, and that part certainly scares me. To see Matt Nagy in that light, to see him getting frustrated at the media. That part definitely scares me if I'm a Bears fan. But I believe in Mitchell Trubisky. Mitchell Trubisky will be a very good quarterback in the NFL. He will play quarterback for a long time. He will play into his second contract. He has too strong of an arm. He's too tall, and he's too fast to not be a good quarterback. Mitchell Trubisky, too, as a young man, is a good guy. He doesn't turn the ball over. He is a good and a big-time quarterback at this level. Mitchell Trubisky is big time. Montgomery. Pagano is still manning this defense. It's a good division. Not every year are you going to make the playoffs. Last year was a special season. But you're not getting rid of Matt Nagy anytime soon. He's a creative offensive coordinator. He schemed it up for Mitchell Trubisky last year. He was a little arrogant with the media after the game, but it's not time to jump ship when things are not going right. It's not time to jump ship when things are not going right. And for this Bears team, for this Chicago Bears team, they need to stick with Mitchell Trubisky. They need to stick with Allen Robinson and Trey Burton and David Montgomery. They need to stick with this offensive line. And this is going to be a very, very good team in the coming years. I believe that this Chicago Bears team is on the precipice of doing something really good. Maybe not this year, but for the following years. And Matt Nagy is the guy to do it. Him and Ryan Pace are excellent at their jobs. Bears fans that are calling for their heads are absolutely absurd. Mitchell Trubisky is an excellent quarterback. He proved it last year. He's having a third-year slump, and he shouldn't get compared to Deshaun Watson or Patrick Mahomes. Not every quarterback drafted in the top 10 is going to be Deshaun Watson or Patrick Mahomes. And just because they're in the same draft class, everybody said that draft class was a weak quarterback draft class. They said Deshaun Watson was an excellent college quarterback, but he couldn't transfer. They said that Patrick Mahomes played in the aerial raid offense, that there was no way that he could adjust and learn how to play in an NFL scheme. Trubisky played at North Carolina. Trubisky has a strong arm. What Trubisky needs is confidence, and he needs to ignore the mainstream media, and he needs to continue to do his job. Mitchell Trubisky's going to end up being a very good quarterback in this league. I don't think the Bears should panic. They have a really tough game in Philly this week, but after that, there's winnable games left for the Chicago Bears. It's all about staying together. I think Matt Nagy's a great guy. He's a guy I'd want to play for. And last year when the team was winning, everybody was loving Matt Nagy. But just because he did so well year one, now we're punishing him. This is the Chicago Bears. This is an organization that had Lovie Smith and John Fox. Most years you're not going to the postseason. Most years you're sitting at home watching the Packers in the postseason. You're watching the Vikings in the wild card round when they had Adrian Peterson and Aaron Rodgers. So Matt Nagy's doing a tremendous job, and it's just year 2. You guys need to relax. Matt Nagy went 11-5 last year. He was absolutely awesome. He won the 3rd seed in the NFC last year. He beat out the Cowboys, beat out Seattle, beat out Philadelphia for that 3rd seed, eliminated the Vikings from the playoffs, and you could just say it was Vic Fangio. But also, Matt Nagy was responsible for drafting this team. Matt Nagy also is really an expert on team chemistry. And with him yesterday, I mean, they still should have ran the football more, to get in the field goal range. But I can understand not throwing the ball because you don't want to have a turnover or fumble in that situation. I get it. I really do. And Matt Nagy's been nothing but confidence to Mitchell Trubisky. Trubisky has a good skill set. People are so reactionary in this day and age to want to write off quarterbacks. We did this with Kirk Cousins already this year. It backfired on people. So we did this with Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones playing really well right now. Lamar Jackson last year. I said Lamar Jackson wouldn't be good, so I changed him quickly. You got to give guys time to develop in the NFL. And Mitchell Trubisky, you got to keep letting him throw the ball deep. You got to keep letting him throw the football. He's 6'2". He's a good quarterback in this NFL. He's not a backup quarterback. He's going to read defenses. He's going to figure it out. Let's talk about Freddie Kitchens now. Freddie Kitchens, first-year head coach of the Cleveland Browns, a horrible organization. Really a terrible organization is the Cleveland Browns. And, Freddie Kitchens, I believe Freddie Kitchens is a damn good coach. The run schemes he created last year helped win Baker Mayfield these games. Baker Mayfield is a very good quarterback in the NFL. He's an excellent player. He has good arm strength. He has accuracy. He's very dynamic in terms of how he can move in the pocket. He is quick. He's a great competitor. Getting Odell Beckham is the sore problem of this. Odell Beckham was out after the game yesterday. He was dapping up Tom Brady, talking about how he's the GOAT. He wants to be in New England. He doesn't want to be a part of the Cleveland Browns. He doesn't want to be in the Cleveland Browns culture. He wants to blame Freddie Kitchens. And Baker Mayfield needs to go to Freddie Kitchens and John Dorsey. He needs to recommend that Odell Beckham be traded off of the Cleveland Browns. Flat out. Because it's too distracting up there with Odell Beckham with this weapon. It's too much responsibility to have to get him the football. Matt Stafford doesn't have Calvin Johnson. Matt Stafford's career has been just fine without Calvin Johnson. In fact, this year, Pittsburgh is still fine without an Antonio Brown. You don't need a game-breaking type of wide receiver. Randy Moss isn't on the Patriots, and it's not like the Patriots got bad when Randy Moss left. Because really good quarterbacks, really good coaches can figure it out. And Freddie Kitchens, this is his first year as a head coach in this organization. He is figuring out how to operate as a head coach, how to call plays, how to get the challenge flag ready. And that's the learning curve. Cleveland was either going to hire Greg Williams, who's been around a long time but hasn't been a head coach, or Kevin Stefanski. But I love the move to keep Freddie Kitchens, who was an excellent offensive coordinator last year. You look at the games in which Freddie Kitchens has lost. He's lost to Bill Belichick. He's lost to Sean McVay. He's lost to Pete Carroll. These are all Super Bowl worthy head coaches. These are some of the best coaches in football. Baker Mayfield's lost to Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, Sean McVay, Aaron Donald. I mean, this Browns schedule has been absolutely really tough out of the gate. And Freddie Kitchens has to balance John Dorsey's ego. He has to balance the ego of Odell Beckham, of Kareem Hunt, of all the offseason expectations, all the media obligations. And for Freddie Kitchens, a guy that really was a running backs coach for a long time, getting thrust into this role, it's going to take time. But this guy has the makings of a great head coach. He is really, his composure is excellent on the sidelines. He runs the team properly. He communicates with his players well. and he calls excellent running plays. Nick Chubb is productive because of Freddie Kitchens. And this Cleveland Browns team is overrated from a talent standpoint. They do not have talented offensive linemen. Their defensive linebackers are just okay and average. They have Steve Wilkes over there manning that defense. This offensive line is not good. The skill position players, you need more tight ends to really be effective. An offense doesn't roll unless you have an offensive line, and Kevin Zeitler was given up. First-round pick, number 17, given up all for Odell Beckham in that big contract, and Odell Beckham's not really doing anything this year. He's having his worst statistical season in the NFL. Big-time wide receivers do not equate to victories. It's time for Cleveland to move on from Beckham, get another player, get some offensive linemen, get Trent Williams, and start building. Maybe trade Beckham straight up for Trent Williams. Then you get to keep your picks, and then Dwayne Haskins can have an Odell Beckham to throw the ball to. Then Kevin O'Connell can have a weapon. You can have McLaurin, and you can have Odell Beckham Jr., but everybody is ganging up on Freddie Kitchens. Freddie Kitchens, a good old Southern boy, and everybody's ganging up on him because they're saying he has the talent that immediately this Cleveland Browns team that hasn't done anything in years and years, this losing culture, this losing owner, this losing GM, immediately people are saying that the Cleveland Browns should be this elite-level franchise when they haven't warranted that whatsoever. They're the Cleveland Browns, and they require patience and not impulsiveness. So don't get rid of Baker. Don't get rid of Freddie Kitchens. Get rid of Odell Beckham, his drama, wearing the pumpkin cleats, giving Tom Brady the goat cleats, feuding with Baker Mayfield, sucking up to Tom Brady. That is completely irresponsible, especially after a loss. You do not go up to your opponent and exchange jerseys after a damn loss. Do not do that if you are Freddie Kitchens. Do not do that if you're Baker Mayfield and if you are the Cleveland Browns. Let's talk about this trade for a second. Let's go out. Let's talk about this Leonard Williams trade. Lenny Williams. This trade is a tremendous trade for the New York Football Giants, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why this trade's unbelievable, guys. Okay, because Leonard Williams, let me read you Leonard Williams' statistics, okay? So Leonard Williams is a defensive tackle. You can never, remember this statement, you can never have too many defensive tackles because this is a passing league. This is a league with quarterback play. This is a league that involves a passing game. You can never have too many pass rushers in the NFL. You can never have too many of them. And the New York Giants now, this defensive line has Dexter Lawrence on it. It has Williams, Lenny Williams. It has B.J. Hill, who had a great year last year, and Dalvin Tomlinson. And the New York Giants are going to trade Janoris Jenkins tomorrow, I'm pretty sure, for a third-round pick. They're going to trade Jenkins for a third-round pick. And that is going to be extremely, extremely healthy for the Giants. Because then this trade is essentially a fifth-round or a fourth-round pick going to the New York Jets because the third-rounder comes back. And if you go back to Landon Collins, the compensatory pick, the Giants have 10 picks, so that pick also adds up. But when they trade Jenkins, this pick's going to add into play. And if the Giants decide to not sign Leonard Williams, then in 2021 they get the third-round pick back anyway. So the pick that they offered to the Jets next year comes back in 2021 anyway. But Janoris Jenkins is going to be worth a third-rounder. If I were the Giants and you really scouted this player and you love this player, I would take the risk on Leonard Williams. If you've scouted his character, since Williams is sucking this year, you could sign Leonard Williams to about a 4-year deal of about $62 million. Okay, 26 plus 26, I believe, equals 62. No, hold on. Hold on 1 second. No, 52. Maybe 4 years, $52 million deal, which means you pay him about $13 million every year. I would do that because if Leonard Williams pops, then his market in the offseason, you're going to have to pay him Nate Solder money because you're going to have to pay him $17 million a year, which he's not worth. But right now you can get him for a price which is much better. But this is Dave Gettleman. This is him giving a test run, and this is a big sign to James Bettcher saying, you better get your crap together or you're going to be out this damn building. You better get your S together or we are moving on and you are done. That's what Gettleman is saying to James Bettcher. Ogletree's on the trade block. Janoris Jenkins. It's time for the young kids to start playing. It's time for development to take place with Julian Love. Now, Baker is playing and Baker's doing a decent job, but Baker's play will be better when the Giants, as an interior pass rush, can start getting pressure on Dak and start getting pressure on the Dolphins and the Redskins. And this Leonard Williams move has to change everything for James Bettcher. Because if James Bettcher can give Pat Shurmur and Daniel Jones some opportunities, then the Giants can start taking advantage and the Giants can start winning these games. So that's how I view Leonard Williams going to the Giants, okay? That's how I view it. Other news yesterday, as we wrap up our show. Other news and other games. Oakland Raiders. They didn't have enough defensive fortitude. Their defense sucks. Their defense is terrible. And that is why Deshaun Watson owned the time of possession in the third and fourth quarter. In fact, he threw a touchdown pass where he got poked in the dang eye. I mean, Deshaun Watson is a big-level quarterback, and the Raiders don't have talent in the secondary. They don't have talent at linebacker right now. Mad Max, the only guy playing hard for them. Defensively, they can stop the run, but they're going to need some corners. They're going to need some safeties. They're going to need speed linebackers. They can't cover tight ends. Jimmy Graham killed them, and the tight end of Houston killed them yesterday. Derek Carr's playing really well. Derek Carr's going to be with this team for a long, long time, okay? Carr is not the problem. He had 3 touchdowns yesterday, 280 yards throwing the football. He is efficient. He gets the ball out quick. He's accurate. I said Derek Carr was not the guy in Oakland. I said that based on last year, based on his rookie year, and based on losing. But he's proven that he could be the guy to lead the Raiders into the future. So the Raiders are building. They're a good team. I'm very confident in John Gruden. He's doing a great job offensively. He has a stable GM and ownership in Mike Mayock. They're going to be like the 49ers if they can draft well, if Abram can actually learn how to play and stay healthy. I know he's been healthy his whole career, but he's a little too reckless with his body. Arizona looked decent yesterday. The Cardinals looked decent yesterday. Kyler Murray played against the Saints. That's a top 4 defense in the NFL. He played against a great quarterback in Drew Brees. And, Vance Joseph and that defense hung in there yesterday. Chandler Jones got some pressures. Their secondary was going after him. Patrick Peterson, they didn't allow explosive plays. They bent and they didn't break. Allowed about 19 points. Eventually they broke late in the game. But that was a pretty competitive, 9-point, 15-point game late into the third quarter, and that's big strides for an organization. David Johnson wasn't in there yesterday. They make a nice deal for Kenyon Drake. So I really like what the Cardinals are doing, and they're continuing to bolster themselves. And Cliff Kingsbury in this NFL, Kyler Murray was functioning yesterday as a rookie quarterback. There's no panic in the guy, and that's what I'm so impressed with. He went to that Superdome. It's loud in the Superdome, and what he was able to do yesterday, I just think Kyler Murray did a terrific, terrific job of kind of managing the game. I was impressed by Arizona together. I mean, Arizona, that win over the Bengals was huge. Figuring out a way offensively to outduel Matt Ryan, big-time win. And then their best game of the season, the Giants, they're going to be hosting San Francisco at the Red Sea. We'll see if the Cardinals can compete with the best team in the NFL in the San Francisco 49ers. Kyle Allen, this whole don't start Cam Newton thing, we're going to learn a lot because I've been a Kyle Allen supporter. I told you Kyle Allen's the guy. And yes, he performed terribly against the 49ers, but what quarterback has done well against the 49ers? The answer would be none of them. Jared Goff was terrible. Winston, Dalton, they've all been terrible against this 49ers defense, which is the best defense in the NFL. Bosa, D. Ford, Sherman, the linebacking core. I mean, Kyle Allen even did better, you can argue, than Baker Mayfield did on Monday Night Football. And also that offensive line, Trey Turner, so many penalties, undisciplined, and Ron Rivera is just an all-right coach, and they were rusty off of the bye. But we're going to learn so much. Tennessee Titans, Tannehill, it was an ugly game, looked like two bad teams, but the Titans are 4-4. Titans go to Carolina. We're going to learn a lot. I think Carolina is a better team than the Titans, so who's a better coach, Rivera or Mike Vrabel? You probably got to give the edge to Kyle Allen and Christian McCaffrey. If Jameis Winston can come in and almost beat you, that tells you everything you need to know. I think Arians will get another year. The Jameis Winston thing, he'll get franchise tagged. He'll be back another year. It'll be fascinating to see what happens. Will be fascinating to see what happens. Other news yesterday, I went across the Cleveland Browns. I dissected that. Green Bay would have win over Kansas City. Kansas City's defense with Spagnuolo, they look good. And if Mahomes and that team has to go on the road to Foxborough, it's probably Kansas City or the Patriots. Kansas City's the only team that can outduel a Tom Brady, that can make things happen. And I think Spagnuolo is going to figure out this defense. I mean, even with the Giants, he's won a Super Bowl as a defensive coordinator in 2011 with the New York Giants. So he's going to find a way to produce talent, produce good performances defensively. I really do think so, and I trust Spagnuolo to continue to develop that defense, and I thought that they looked fine, and I thought that they looked good. The Lions, Matt Patricia, this defense has really fallen off. It's very concerning. I'm very lukewarm on Patricia. I trust Matt Nagy a lot more than Patricia. Matt Nagy has a lot more equity, has a lot more time than like a Matt Patricia, because Patricia's calling card is supposed to be defense. And what he did defensively yesterday was just absolutely atrocious against Daniel Jones. I mean, Darius Slayton was mossing Rashad Melvin. This secondary looks absolutely awful, and you have guys like Darius Slay. You don't really address the secondary in the draft. I know you try to address offense. Darrell Bevel was a great hire. You know, your GM is Bob Quinn, and he seems to be a decent general manager. But this defense is nowhere close to where it needs to be. And throughout the first couple of games, you know, the Eagles game, you guys, you know, Detroit played good defense. Against Kansas City, they were getting after Mahomes, but this team looks like it's kind of quitting. It's kind of teetering away. And this is going to be a shootout against the Oakland Raiders. And the Oakland Raiders, they can admit that they haven't drafted good defense. And John Gruden's an offensive head coach. He's having a lot of success with Josh Jacobs and Derek Carr. And at least you see promise from Oakland. But from Detroit, they don't have a direction. What guys do you really say, oh, that young player has a lot of promise on that defense? Is it Gerard Davis? Is it some of their linebackers? I mean, Is it the guys in the middle of that defense, Is it Snacks Harrison and they signed Trey Flowers and all these veterans, so are they rebuilding? They're right in mediocrity. They're just like their basketball team up there in Detroit. So I used to really like what Detroit was doing. They really had a good start to the year, but they've teetered off and kind of quit. And they're not really a team that seems bad enough to really get elite-level players. So I'd give Patricia some time, maybe 2 more years, but I'm not going to put my name next to Matt Patricia's name. I was leaning that way, but now this data is just telling you this defense is a train wreck, and expect Oakland to pretty much, beat Detroit next week. That line's 2 right now. I expect Oakland to handle them. So, that's the NFL in a nutshell. The Eagles, look back on schedule. I still think that the Cowboys win that division and the Eagles are out. So I think that the wild card's too competitive. You have Minnesota fighting. You have the Rams that are fighting. Seattle. Carolina's not done yet. It's too many teams fighting that are better than the Eagles' overall, record. And I believe the Eagles are, 4-4 on the year, 500. They're going to have a bye week coming up pretty soon, I believe. So that's that. Alrighty, guys, it's been fun. I've enjoyed breaking it down. It's the Week 8 podcast. You guys are awesome. Take care, everybody. Peace out. Enjoy yourselves, and let's have a great week, and be what you guys